Okay, I hope I got all the hiccups made taken care of here. All right, but we're going to be working on the Easy Bow Maker today. And if you're not familiar with the Easy Bow Maker, this is what it is right here. And we're going to be making our bow right here in the center. And right here is where we're going to place our ribbon. And if you look at it, here at the center of the bow, it does have markings here so that you're able to visualize your ribbon or loop size and try to make them fairly even. Now, as opposed to the Pro Bow, which we worked with last week, there is a little bit of play with the ribbon, and so I have a little bit of difficulty on the Easy Bow Maker making my loops exactly the same, but it's okay if it's a little bit off. It's not a big deal. But anyway, so we're going to be making the bow center right here and work outward. Another thing that's opposite from the Pro Bow, on the Pro Bow, you work from the inner layer out. On the Easy Bow Maker, you work on the bottom layer and work up. And people always ask me about this little peg right here. This is for like itty bitty bows, like what you would make for an infant. But I've never used it, but it's there just in case you would need to. And let me see how we're doing here now. So we've got Facebook and YouTube hooked up. How's everybody doing on TikTok? I've been grounded from TikTok going live here for about a week now. And so that's why you haven't seen me live, but hopefully we're all good now. All right, looks like we're back in business now. Sorry about that. I don't know. Like I said, every time you go to sign on, it seems like they've changed something else, and it just makes it really difficult. Okay. All right, let's get going. Now, first thing I wanted to do was make a Christmas bow, and I've got this really cute, adorable lime green and red. It's like a felt ribbon. I've got it in my shop, and I've just been dying to use it, and I haven't had a reason to. But I pulled it out special today, and we're going to make the ribbon or the bow with this. Like I said, it's kind of a felt-like material or flannel, and then it has this chenille edge down the center there. It's just gorgeous. And I just took this, was the inspiration for this bow. I took this and I wanted just to match some ribbons to go with it. And I don't know if I've got enough ribbon for this or not, but I hope I do. I've got this 4-inch kind of a canvas ribbon. Actually, you know what? It's more of a burlap, but it's lime green with the polka dots. I just thought it would be fun. When I think about lime green, I just think about fun designs, not so much traditional. We're going to pair that with this. This is going to be my bottom ribbon. And then I just wanted to stay with just a few colors. I didn't want to muddy it too much. And I'm just going with the red and lime green theme. Of course, we've got this little piece of chenille, this white, but I'm going to stick with just these two basic colors. And I wanted it to be pretty luxurious. You have the kind of the flannel color, or I'm sorry, flannel texture of the lime green and red here. I just paired it with a plain 2.5-inch red ribbon. All these ribbons are wired. I don't use unwired ribbons in my bows, and actually ever for that matter. I've also got another 1.5-inch red velvet ribbon. I was thinking about putting that here, but I might skip this one. I don't know yet because I have this Merry Christmas ribbon. It's a satin. I don't really usually like satin ribbons because they can tend to be a little bit flimsy. But this one has enough glitter here that it's holding the fabric stiff, a little bit more stiff. Now, if you can feel of it, like between the letters here, you can tell it's not a really stiff ribbon. But again, like I've said before, the more glitter you've got on a ribbon, like on a satin ribbon, it's going to be a little bit more firm for you. It does have a decent wire, so you know, it's a decent ribbon. It's not real flimsy like a lot of satins are, but you can see it holds its shape pretty well. I'm not sure how it would be in a 2.5 inch. You know, the smaller or the thinner the ribbon, the the less stiff the ribbon needs to be also. All right, so let's go ahead and get these out of the way here. And if you have any questions, be sure and put them in the comments. After I get the bow made, I'll come back and I'll answer any questions that I can. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here for the Facebook and YouTube people. Hope everybody's doing well, having a good day. I was doing pretty good until I went to go live and all these tech changes again. I was raised in a generation when we didn't have computers and we didn't have all this fancy stuff. And I tell you, sometimes it throws you for a loop. All right, now I'm putting my ribbon on the bow maker over here. Let me scoot this over just a hair. Okay. I'm over here on the bow maker, and I recommend, you know, we're going to be working right here, so I recommend having the ribbon to come off and away from you. It just keeps it out of the way. It's not a deal breaker if you forget that, but you'll just find yourself having to move it all out of the way all the time. Now I am going to go ahead and dovetail this. I think it puts a finished edge on your ribbon. I'm going to fold it in half just like this. I'm going to put the two wired edges together and then the folded edges over here. And I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim it at an angle. And then open it up and it has a nice finished edge. Now, that satin ribbon I was showing you, if that was a 4-inch ribbon, it was flimsy enough, I wouldn't be able to dovetail that because it's going to fold up on itself. But this is a good bodied ribbon. Now, I'm going to make, I hadn't really decided because I wasn't sure how much ribbon I had. I think I'm going to try and make this with tails because my vision was it's going to be a nice, healthy, either a wreath bow or you could use it as a small tree topper bow. All right, so let's make this about, let's say 14 inches for the tail. So I'm going to come over here, and you can't see my fingers there, can you? I'm going to come over here to about 8 inches. I'm just going to lay my ribbon down, come over here about 6 inches. So that's 14 inches total. The whole board's about 20 inches. But I'm just going to take my finger there and mark it. I'm going to get a decent amount of ribbon off. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it down vertically through these pegs with the good side of the ribbon facing away from me. We've got a good side and we've got a wrong side to the ribbon. Some ribbons are double-sided. This one is not. And that's not a, dig against the ribbons. A lot of them are just one-sided. I'm going to put this down vertically, good side facing away. As I go down, I'm going to twist this ribbon. I'm going to push it down right here against the board. And I've got my tail down here. Okay. Now, when I do that, you can see now the wrong side of the ribbon is facing upward. But in order to have the bow loop have the correct side showing toward me, I have to twist it here. Okay. Now I'm going to make about a 6-inch bow loop, and I've got the 6 inches right here. I'm going to bring that bow loop over to about 6 inches, and I've pulled my thumb there. I'm going to come back here right at the center of the bow and mark that, and then I'm going to take that section and I'm going to run it down vertically, good sides facing away, and I'm going to twist. Push that down. Make sure your ribbon's twisted all the way. You want the edges of the ribbon in the center of your bow, you want it twisted underneath. And that's what I was taking a little bit of time and correcting there. And I made it a little smaller than I wanted. Let's put that over there closer to 6. And that's what I mean with the Easy Bow Maker. You're going to have a little bit of play in your ribbon, so you've got to watch to see that you're not drastically off in your measurements. All right, so we've got the wrong side of our ribbon facing again. Now this ribbon is large. It's a 4-inch ribbon, so I'm just going to use one loop on either side of that. So I've already got the good side of the ribbon showing, so I don't have to twist it this time. So I'm going to bring it over here. I've got about 6 inches over here. I'm marking it with my thumb. I'm going to pinch it. Again, I've got the edges of the ribbon turned under. I'm going to set that down in there. Push that down. Now we've got our first level of our bow. And you guys, really, this in itself would make a cute bow. Just this one ribbon, one loop on either side. You could go with it. But we're going to keep going. All right, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to compare my tails. If you can see, we're going to compare our tails. I know it's off camera for a few of you. I'm just going to cut it. Make it about the same length as my other one. And then I'm going to dovetail it. I'm going to fold these together. Cut it at an angle. Okay. So there we go. Cute. I love this ribbon. I wish I'd had more of it. All right, get that out of the way. Now my next layer, I wanted that red velvet, the 2.5 inch. The reason being, I want to separate these two patterns. I've got a pattern here. I've got a pattern here. I mean, this one really reads like a solid, but there is the lime green. I want a red background to separate these two. And so we'll go with this. It's a 2.5 inch ribbon. Velvet. Place this on here. Again, I'm going to put the ribbon coming off and away from me. Get out a decent amount of ribbon. I'm going to fold this in half, dovetail it. Some people call this fishtailing. It's the same thing. Okay, and I'm going to come down here. I'm going to make my next tail just about maybe 1/2 inch shorter than the one I've already made. That way it allows all the ribbons to be seen. All right, I'm coming back up here. I've got my thumb where I want that tail to start. And I'm going to put the ribbon in, good sides facing away. I'm going to twist it as I go down. Push that down. And the reason I'm pushing this down, you want the bow center to be nice and tight. That way your bow loops are gonna lift up a little bit better. Now this one, I'm gonna make this one either the same or a little bit smaller than the previous loop here. So I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna compare it to this other loop. Again, I'm marking here in the center. I'm gonna take this down slowly. Good sides facing away. Twist it as I go. And push it down. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Come over here. Compare it to that other loop. I've got it marked with my thumb. Push it down or pull it down. Good sides going away. Twist it as I go down. Okay. And we're going to repeat the process one more time. Come over here. Compare it with my other loop. My thumb's marking it. Good sides facing away. Twist it as I go down. All right, now this is the last loop I want to put in on this ribbon. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to mark my size. And then I'm going to I don't need to twist it, right? I don't need to twist it. I'm going to pinch it. And push it down. Separate out our loops. If you guys hear some scratching in the background, my dog is over there. I forgot to let him out while I was getting ready. Casey, stop. Sorry about that. He's like, oh, you forgot all about me. I sure did. I was too busy working with technology. Okay, now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to dovetail. You're sitting there scratching on the carpet. Okay, now the next ribbon, we're going to bring in the focal ribbon. I just love this. This makes me smile when I look at it. And this is a big roll, but it really, I think it's only 10 yards. Yeah, it's only 10 yards, but that's how thick this ribbon is. It's really cute. I do have some in my shop at Box My Bow if you're interested. Okay. Again, I'm going to fold this in half. Most new ribbon comes folded at the edge like this. So I go ahead and cut that crease off of there. So we'll go up a little bit higher than that. Cut it at an angle. Makes me think about sweaters. Same thing. I'm going to make this tail just a little bit shorter. I'm comparing it to the other one. Push it down. Good sides facing away. Twist it as I go down. Okay, now I'm trying to decide on this one. I was debating, do I want to do 2 loops or 1? I think I'm going to do 2. And I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter than the other ones. I don't want this to completely cover up all the rest of the ribbons. So I'm going to make this about a 1/2 inch shorter. And right now I can't see my marks on my board. So I'm going to come in on my cutting mat. I've got it all lined up here, my inches with my cutting mat, and I'm going to come in about a 1/2 inch. So right about right there. Again, I'm going to put this down, good sides facing away, twist it, push it down. This is going to be a humongous bow. All right, same thing. I'm looking down at my cutting mat. About a 1/2 inch shorter is going to be right there. I've got my thumb over here marking it. Put that down. Good sides facing away from me. Twist it. Push it down. And I'm going to go ahead with 2 loops. I just like this ribbon so much. We're going to go with 2 loops on either side. If you wanted to save on cost on the bow, you could, you could use a little bit less of your more expensive ribbons, and you could just do 1 loop of this. It would be fine. But we're going to go ahead and do 2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I've twisted there. I didn't get a good turn there. Let me push it. This ribbon's so thick. All right, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to compare it with my other loop. I got my finger mark in the center. I'm going to, good sides facing away, twist it as we go down. And notice that now I'm having to hold this down. See how the pegs kind of splay apart, and it makes it difficult to hold all the ribbon in the same place. So I'm holding it down with one of my fingers as I'm manipulating it. Now, this is going to be the last loop. So remember, we don't have to twist it because we've already got the good side facing upward. I'm going to take this, I'm going to pinch it and just set it down in there. Again, making sure I've got the edges turned correctly. All right, I'm going to go ahead and separate these out. You don't have to, but I am just so I can kind of visualize the bow here as I'm making it, because I'm not really decided on what I want to do as far as how many ribbons yet. And again, you could stop right there if you wanted to. It's really cute. All right, I'm going to come down here and cut my tail. I'm measuring it or comparing it against my last tail, make it just a little bit shorter. And we're going to dovetail. Okay. Now, do I want to use, I don't know if I want to use both of those ribbons. I pulled out that, had the red velvet and then the Merry Christmas ribbon. Just gonna, I think I will. We're gonna use a little bit more ribbon than I usually do. I just want it to be a kind of a wowzer's bow kind of thing. All right, so we're putting that down. All right, I've got the 1.5 inch red velvet. I'm going to dovetail it. Come down here, make it a little bit shorter than the last ribbon. Right here's my tail, where it started my tail. Good sides facing away. I'm going to twist it, push it down. I'm looking here studying, do I want to put 2 loops or one? I'm going to put 2 loops on either side, and I'll tell you why here in a minute when we get to the next ribbon. Now this one I'm going to make somewhat shorter because I want that focal ribbon to be seen. So I'm going to bring that in about, let me get my lines marked, or my marks lined up. I'm going to bring that in, let's say, this would be 6, 5, let's do 4.5 inches. And I'm marking it, twist it, push it down. I was already in there because I was kind of looking at the ribbon. All right, let's find 4.5 inches here. So I've got 6, 5, 4.5. And at this point, you might be able to just eyeball it. I do that a lot too. Push it down. And just eyeball it. It looked like this one's a little bit bigger. Let's bring that in. All right. Get that over there. Compare it with my last ribbon. Twist it. Push it down. And again, this is going to be the last loop, so we do not have to twist it. Just bring it to your next, or to your other loop and compare. Pinch it. Turn those edges down. Edges down on the sides is what I'm talking about. Put that down in there. Spread those out here. Notice I'm holding down because it's not in there snugly. And that's one thing about the Easy Bow Maker. Like I said, I like because you can see your bow as you're making it. And if you need to change your mind or change it up somehow, you can do that. This dovetail, it looks like I've got my tails uneven somehow. I have to go back and correct that. Okay, and now we've got the Merry Christmas ribbon. And this is what we call one directional ribbon. And what that means is there's an upside down and a right side up to the ribbon. And you know, some it doesn't bother. It does bother me if the words are upside down. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. It's a little bit different than what you would do with regular ribbon. We're going to have to position it a little bit differently. Now, I do like to work with it when the words go across it like this. It's a little bit easier. This is actually called vertical one-directional ribbon, which is the opposite of what I think it should be. There's vertical and horizontal one-directional. Horizontal, let me see. I don't have any here handy, do I? I was going to show you the difference, but say we had snowmen and say their head was here and their feet were down there. That would be horizontal one directional. This is, like I said, vertical one directional. All right, so we're going to put it on our spool here. And we're going to start at the other side because now to me, going up, you know, Merry Christmas versus Merry Christmas, that's not a big deal. But across the middle here, I do want the words in the right direction. So we're going to start out here. Let me go ahead and dovetail it before I stick it in here. I don't want to cut right in the middle of that word. I'm going to try to space it like that. And we're going to put that right down here. We're measuring our tail. It's a little bit awkward when you're starting on the other direction. Now we're going to, like I said, our tail is going to be right here. I am going to go ahead and just do it the regular way. At this point, we're just starting at the other side. And you're saying, oh my gosh, it's upside down. Well, just hang on a minute and it won't be. All right, I'm going to bring this out here. Just a little bit shorter than those. Good side of the ribbon's facing away. Push it down. Come over here. And again, I'm just going to put one loop here. So we'll pinch it and set it down in there. Like I said, I don't care if the words go two different directions. You can still read it. Now, we've got the upside down words here. All we're going to do is twist it. Now, sometimes, depending on how thick your ribbon is, you may have to make this loop a little bit longer to make up for that. I wish that I could, let me see if I can sneak those words where they're spaced a little better. Trying to get it where you can actually read some of the words here in the middle. Get that twisted down. Okay. All right, I think we're there now. That one's not pinched. I'm going to take this out and just pinch this a little better. Okay. All right, sit that down there like that. Now, we've got a big bunch of ribbon here. Most of these ribbons are pretty thick, and we need to get off the board and secure it somehow. I'm hoping one zip tie is going to wrap around this. I might have to add two. I just don't know. But I like to use zip ties, especially when the ribbon's thick like this and you're going to be putting a lot of pressure where a pipe cleaner or you know, a thin floral wire might break. Now I'm going to go underneath of this ribbon diagonally through these pegs, and I'm going to make sure that little knob there is facing my feet, so it's on the bottom. So I'm going to make sure all the ribbon's up off the board. And then I want to come over diagonally like this. And this is just big enough. All right, I'm going to cinch it down just so I can free up my hands now. And I can already see that this one's just not wanting to twist right. There we go. Now, I'm going to lift this, go ahead and lift it off the board, and I'm making sure I've got pressure on the ribbon so that my ribbon's not going to slip. Oh, I forgot to trim that tail. We'll get that. All right, so let's go ahead and cinch it down where I can loosen my hands just a little bit. And I'm going to start at the bottom ribbon, which is this polka dot ribbon. I'm going to position this first, make sure it's where I want it. Now I'm going to separate these two 2.5 inch loops. And I have to swap hands here. Like I said, this is just about as much ribbon as I can hold. I'm making sure all my turns are good on my ribbon. Fluffing out my bow. And I want to be sure that I've got the 2 loops here. I've got the 1 loop of this. I want to be sure that I can see that 1 loop in between these 2. Now I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to work with the striped ribbon. Make sure everything's where I want it. Next is going to be the red velvet. And this loop acts like it wants to go up top. Let me see. And you'll know what I mean. Sometimes the ribbons have they either want to be on top or the bottom, and you'll know what I mean when you're trying to separate your loops. All right, now I'm going to make sure that this Merry Christmas ribbon is right between those. Okay. Now you'll be able to adjust it a little bit after we tighten this down, but you want to get it started at least. Now we're going to come on the other side over here. Work with that one. Go to the red velvet. Go to the striped. Red velvet. And then I'm going to put this Merry Christmas between the red velvet here. Okay, now look at your tails. Make sure your tails are the way you want them. And I try to just do a layer at a time. Can't find that one there. Couldn't find that red velvet. Okay, once you're happy with the way it looks, we're going to turn it over. And we need some way to connect this to either our wreath, our lantern, our tree, whatever we're going to attach it to. So I'm going to use a pipe cleaner, and I'm going to take the pipe cleaner and just stick it right underneath of that zip tie. I'll turn it over one more time, make sure I'm happy still. And you can still adjust it once you cinch this all the way down. It's just a little harder. So don't give up. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. I'm going to use a zip tie, or pliers, I mean. All right, I'm going to clip this edge off of the zip tie. Now I'm going to trim this tail I forgot to trim. And I want to make these two relatively close in length. I don't want to cut Christmas in the middle here. So I'm going to go up just a little bit. If I go right about right here, then I can cut. I don't have to cut in the middle of a word. If you're really picky about it, you could make sure you had Merry Christmas positioned where you can see the whole words, but I'm not going to worry that much about it. There you go. Now, let's get it all fluffed out here. Now we can use 2 hands. And just, just go from the bottom and work up. And you'll have to go back and forth. That's okay. Just take your time. Now we'll get Merry Christmas there. Now, I want to see those tails. I noticed that had them a little bit uneven there. It's okay if they're a little uneven. That's not a big deal. In fact, I don't like them to be, just exactly straight across most times. Especially if I was putting it in a wreath. But somehow I got way off on these. I'm going to trim this up just a bit. And let's go over here and trim this one. These two are quite uneven. I don't know what I was looking at. Okay, and I usually like to, if I was going to style this in a photo, I like to kind of give it a little bit of pizzazz down here on the ends. Just show there's a little bit of body. All right, now, if I were going to put this in a wreath, I would not do this step, but I'm going to sell this bow, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this up by, we still have that zip tie that's visible, so I'm going to go ahead and cover that with a little something of a ribbon. And I'm thinking probably the red velvet's going to be the most appropriate. The 1.5 inch is what I'm talking about. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take and I'm going to cut lengthwise probably about 10 inches or so right up the middle of this ribbon. Don't short yourself on this part, especially if you got short fingers like I have, because it's hard to tie if you do. Okay, I think that looks good. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold that in half. When you look at it, you want it to be the raw edge. You want to not put it past that wired edge, that finished edge, and that way it's not going to show any fray. And I'm just going to take that and put it right over that zip tie. Make sure you've got all your tails on the right side, the side that you want it to be on. I've messed up with that before. I try to tell you all the things I've done wrong so you avoid problems for you. I'm going to flip it over here and I'm just going to tie that in a knot. And it just makes it, puts a nice finished edge on it. Now if I were using it in a bow, or I'm sorry, if I was using it in a wreath, I usually will put something in the center, whether it be an ornament or some greenery, something like that, that will obscure the zip tie. That's why I was talking, I do it differently if I'm using it in a wreath. Or a lot of times too, my bow is so pinched together here in the center, or so full that you can't see the zip tie anyway. So okay, I'm going to look through now and see if I see any questions. am I even live here? Houston, we may have a problem. I know we're still live on TikTok, right? Okay, I see some comments here. I was starting to get nervous. Okay, I'm going to look and see if I have any questions and answer them as best I can. Hey, Phoebe from Florida. Hey, Vince, Barbara. There's Jean and Evelyn. Oh, Jean found that with the easy bow. Yes, yes. Yeah, I like it. Like I said, the pro bow, while I love it, that is one thing. You don't know what your bow looks like until you're done. But this bow, it could be, you could use that on like I said, on a wreath, a lantern, a light post, a banister, a tree. Hey, Joanne, Carol. Thank you all for being here. All right, let me go over to YouTube. Well, I'm not seeing you on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to turn you guys up on TikTok, so close your eyes if it bothers you. I'm going to see if there's any questions. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for following. Your pegs fall out. Yeah, they do. And you know what I do? I just periodically, I did put a little bit of glue on them. And what I do, I just take my pliers and just hammer them down every so often. But yeah, that is one thing. I guess though, on the newer ones, that they're a little bit tighter. But now another thing you can do also, which I did it on my Pro Bow, you can take, mine are too tight in there, but you can take some painter's tape and wrap the bottom of them too, and it makes it just a little bit thicker. But I saw no, I don't move these pegs, and so I saw no reason why I couldn't go ahead and, glue them in. So that's what I did. Mine's old, though. Whoops. Oh, thank you guys for all the follows. Yeah, no, unwired ribbon does not work when you're trying to do bows. I have to tell you, the only time, I'm trying to make my camera go up a little bit. The only time that I have used unwired ribbon in a design I've made, I needed just a little strip of white ribbon in the middle of something, and it was very narrow, and I made really short loops, and that's the only way it will work for you. So, but yeah, wired ribbon's the way to go. I don't know why my thing won't stay tight here. There. Oh, thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. And lots of followers. I really appreciate that. Come color with you. Oh, you saw the tech changes? I know. I know. It's like I said, I was not raised in the computer era. Here, I'm going to raise you guys up too over on Facebook. Sorry about that. I wasn't raised on computers, and all this electronic technology stuff is really hard for us. I mean, we had the old-fashioned typewriters, and we didn't have email. We didn't have any of this stuff when I was younger. Yes, come color with me. Yes, I'm afraid to say that word. I'm really afraid to say anything, but yes, it does put you in mind of a certain character, doesn't it? Yes. Yeah, so if you had any of those type wreaths you're making or any of that theme in your home, yes, it would definitely be perfect for that guy. And I do have some in my shop. And there's a coupon, you guys, today. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Yeah, they are hard to get in there. That's exactly right. All right, I'm going to look over here to see if I got any other questions. Okay. And I'm going to pin a comment for you guys. I don't know what happened on YouTube. I'm not really sure why I'm not live there. But let me type this in real quick. I know you're looking at all my gray roots there. I'm just putting in the link for the bow shop here. It's boxmybow.com. And like I said, I'm afraid to say anything too much because I don't know what I did wrong on TikTok to make me get banned for a week. So, all right, does anybody else have questions? Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Okay. All right. That's all I have for you today. Like I said, check out my shop. And I'll be going back on my regular schedule on TikTok. I am usually live on Fridays in the afternoon, and then on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock we do bows. Fridays I usually make a design, and then sometimes I go in spontaneously other days. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. And if you have any questions, just shoot me a line. I do have a link in my bio with all my information where you can contact me. So thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye-bye. All right, and you guys in Facebook, I can tell you guys a little bit more. Here's my coupon code. It is Tuesday with Terry, and it's got 20% off on boxmybow.com. I did put a link in the comments there, but that's for today only. I got a lot of really nice ribbon in there, including that red and lime green ribbon. And be adding some more. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So, all right. Thanks again for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.